Freddie Mercury, the legendary lead singer of Queen, is still widely recognized as a legendary figure in music. Legendary voice features spectacular performances. But beneath the surface lies a more personal story, the deep bond between Freddie and Mary Austin. Their once romantic relationship has now blossomed into an unshakable friendship. What hidden truths about Mary and Freddie's romance will be revealed? How did their enduring friendship shape the legendary musician? Let's find out. Mary Austin's early life. As a child, Mary Austin was raised in a world of quiet. She was born in the year 1951 in Fulham, London. She developed a remarkable capacity to communicate through lip reading and sign language as a result of the fact that both of her parents were deaf. This talent would later prove to be extremely useful in comprehending the multifaceted and flamboyant Freddie Mercury. Her early life may have been unremarkable, but fate had a more significant purpose for her when she met the rock superstar, who would go on to become a legend in 1969, just before Mercury would go on to join Queen. At the time, Mary was employed in a fashionable boutique in London, and Freddie had recently graduated from art school and was selling garments at a market in Kensington, which was very close by. Even though his personality was bigger than life, which originally caused Mary to feel uneasy, the two got together quite quickly and were inseparable. The two of them began to live together in a modest apartment not long after their romance began to flourish. As Freddie's aspirations in the music industry began to take flight, their lives began to become entwined. As Queen began to take shape, and Mercury's aspirations of being a celebrity became more and more attainable, Mary was there to witness every stage of his development. She recounted that she was in the presence of a rising celebrity for the first time when she went to one of his early performances at his previous art school. She experienced the realization that she was witnessing a star in the making. Freddie's journey from a devoted artist to a global superstar happened right in front of her eyes, and she stood at his side throughout the entire process. Their passionate connection reached its pinnacle on Christmas Day, when Freddie, in his customary fun manner, proposed to Mary with a jade ring that was concealed inside a series of stacked boxes. Mary happily accepted his proposal. The action was a quintessential example of Freddie's playful but heartfelt nature. Nevertheless, in spite of the fact that they were engaged, their love story would not proceed in a conventional manner. During the time that Queen's success was skyrocketing and Mercury was beginning to investigate his own identity, the dynamics of their partnership began to gradually change. In 1976, Freddie disclosed to Mary that he was bisexual. Mary was supportive of his decision. On the other hand, Mary has always held the belief that he is a gay person. It was because of this revelation that their romantic engagement came to a stop. Yet, their connection was not in any way wavered. The fact that they did not have the same type of connection anymore did not prevent Freddie from making sure that Mary stayed close to him. By purchasing an apartment for her in the neighborhood, he made certain that she would continue to play a significant role in his life, his inner circle, and his heart. There was no denying the profound fondness that Freddie had for Mary. In an interview that took place in 1985, he addressed the significance of Mary in an open and honest manner, stating, "All of my lovers asked me why they couldn't replace Mary, but it's simply impossible. Currently, Mary is the only friend I have, and I have no desire to have any other friends. It was as if she were my wife to me. I considered it to be a marriage." These terms are a reflection of the depth of their connection, which went beyond the conventional definitions and classifications of their relationship. She was the only one who genuinely understood him, and she was his constant companion. While Freddie Mercury was experiencing the highs and lows of his personal life, as well as his climb to stardom, Mary was there for him every step of the way. She witnessed everything, not only the glitzy moments of his work, but also the challenges he had in his personal life. Mary obeyed Freddie's final wishes by dispersing his ashes when he died away in 1991. This is a secret that she has guarded since the time of his passing. Queen's reputation was expanding as Freddie and Mary's love bloomed, but with success came new problems. They had to overcome these challenges. In what ways will their relationship be able to withstand the influence of stardom? Have a watchful eye. Fame, success, and changing dynamics. Freddie Mercury's meteoric climb to popularity was a spectacle for the entire world, but it also resulted in a significant change in the trajectory of his relationship with Mary Austin. As Queen began to ascend, the dynamics between the pair, who had been together for a long time, gradually evolved, changing their connection in unanticipated ways. As the early 1970s approached, Freddie and Mary had already established a life together, managing the hustle and bustle of London's thriving music industry that was taking place at the time. However, none of them could adequately prepare themselves for the force that was fame. The first album by Queen was released in 1973, and Freddie's life began to move at a breakneck speed after that milestone. It was no longer the case that he was the artist working hard at a garment stand in Kensington. Through his electrifying stage presence, he was rapidly becoming a well-known figure, and he was the subject of widespread attention. On the other hand, the contrast between their peaceful childhood and the mayhem that surrounded Freddie's burgeoning celebrity started to become more obvious. Both awe-inspiring and frightening were the feelings that Mary had as she witnessed his transformation into a global superstar. She had the opportunity to personally experience the weight of his rising renown, but she was also concerned that it might cause him to withdraw from her. Even though Freddie was a larger-than-life character on stage, he maintained a strong attachment to Mary during the early stages of the band's fame. Even as it changed throughout time, their connection remained a fundamental component in both of their lives. The changes that occurred in their relationship were paralleled by the changes that occurred in Freddie's identity as a performer. Mary's presence, her unassuming support, and the connection that they had established long before Queen became a phenomenon were all things that he still appreciated deeply at his bottom line. The proposal that Freddie made to Mary on Christmas Day when she was just 23 years old was a moment that not only demonstrated his love for theatrics, but also demonstrated his desire to maintain the consistent relationship that she provided. Both his devotion and his quirky attitude were prominently displayed through the fun sequence of nested boxes that led to a jade ring. On the other hand, the tides were beginning to shift, as their interaction indicated a deepening of their relationship with one another. The pressures of Freddie's profession increased with each passing year, drawing him farther into the world of music, stardom, and self-discovery, while simultaneously pushing him further into the limelight. Within a short period, the fractures in their romantic connection started to become apparent. Although she had always been there for him, Mary felt the pressure of these changes. The time when Freddie revealed to her in 1976 that he was bisexual was a defining milestone in their relationship. Even if she had a sneaking suspicion that he was changing his identity, the fact that he said it nonetheless left an indelible impression on their relationship. Even though this discovery brought an end to their relationship, it did not break the profound emotional connection that they had with one another. As Queen reached new heights, Freddie's celebrity continued to skyrocket, and he became even more enmeshed in a life of excess and glitter as a result of this. Despite this, Mary continued to be a consistent presence in his life, not just as a reminder of his history, but also as a loyal companion who knew him in ways that no one else could. Over time, their love evolved into something that was beyond the boundaries of a classic romantic partnership. It developed into a profound friendship, one that was founded on mutual respect, experiences that were shared, and a singular comprehension of who Freddie was beneath the dazzling veneer of celebrity. Mary remained an important personality in Freddie's life, despite the fact that their relationship evolved throughout time. For him, her friendship was the most important thing in the world, and he referred to her as the one person who fully understood him. His achievement may have altered a great deal of things, but it did not alter the position that she had in his heart. Freddie's devotion to Mary was one of the most enduring constants in his ever-changing environment, although the demands of celebrity altered the path of their relationship. Mary was Freddie's girlfriend. Throughout the late 1970s, their lives had become completely different from where they had begun. Mary had her own life, although one that was inextricably interwoven with Freddie's, and Freddie was a celebrated celebrity all over the world. He made sure that she would always be close by purchasing her an apartment in the neighborhood. Their relationship continued to persist in a manner that went beyond the conventional conceptions of love, even though their romantic connection had come to an end. One day, Freddie observed that his lovers attempted to take Mary's place, but none of them were successful. The unforeseen change that occurred in Freddie's personal life occurred at the same time as Queen achieved new heights. Because of his epiphany, how would his relationship with Mary be altered? Well, let's find out. From lovers to lifelong friends. On the day of Christmas, when Mary Austin was 23 years old, Freddie Mercury surprised her with a gift that she did not anticipate. A tiny jade ring was discovered by her in the final and tiniest of a series of nested boxes that she had discovered. Freddie was the one she questioned since she was unsure which hand to wear it on. After he had finished his speech, he made a proposition to her by pointing to her left hand. Mary, overcome with emotion, gave a silent assent, therefore completing a moment that established the zenith of their romantic relationship. A romance that had developed alongside Freddie's sudden ascent to popularity culminated in their engagement, which was the pinnacle of their relationship. It was the middle of the 1970s when Freddie's career was at its peak. During this time period, Queen held a number of albums that were successful, such as Sheer Heart Attack in 1974 and A Night at the Opera in 1975. In the latter, there was a ballad called Love of My Life, which many people felt was composed specifically for Mary. His extravagant outfits, engaging stage presence, and soaring four-octave vocal range helped Freddie become a phenomenon that was recognized all over the world. Furthermore, Mary remained at his side throughout it all, serving as a source of calm amid the mayhem that celebrity brought. Mary, on the other hand, started to feel that their relationship was changing as the focus on Freddie became more intense. It became increasingly common for Freddie to stay out late, and as a result, a growing barrier developed between them. At first, she thought that these shifts were a result of the demands that his rapidly developing job was putting on him, but the truth was much more complicated than that. Beneath the surface, something more profound was developing, which would irrevocably alter the nature of their relationship. Freddie and Mary had been together for 6 years when, in 1976, Freddie had a heart-to-heart chat with Mary, during which he revealed a reality that had been weighing heavily on him. It was revealed to her that he was a bisexual. During the course of their relationship, this revelation was a defining event, and Mary subsequently regarded it as a memorable experience. She had the impression that something was different, but she did not completely comprehend the magnitude of the difference. Freddie's confession was met with a response from her that was direct yet thoughtful. It was at this point that their romantic relationship came to an end. Nevertheless, it did not mean that their bond was severed. Instead, it served as the cornerstone of a long-lasting relationship that would continue to exist between them for the rest of their lives. Mary remained an important role in Freddie's life, even though she had suffered a heartache. He was unable to conceive of his existence without her, and in many respects, she provided him with an incomparable experience. The emotional connection that they had got stronger as they moved through this new chapter of their relationship. The affection that Freddie had for Mary did not diminish. It was a gesture that indicated his profound devotion to her, that he purchased an apartment for her that was located close to his own. This ensured that she would always be close by. As a result of his appreciation for her presence, the nature of their connection evolved from that of amorous partners to that of something more profound, eternal buddies. Mary remained dedicated to Freddie despite the fact that she was having her own difficulties adjusting to the changes in her life. Freddie never wanted to lose her. The transformation from romantic partners to social companions was not without its difficulties. The realization that the future she had envisioned for herself and Freddie would never come to pass was something that Mary had to force herself to accept. While she was on the sidelines, she saw him as he began pursuing connections with other men. She was aware that their romantic connection had reached its logical end. In spite of everything, their connection remained strong. Even if the dynamics of their relationship were shifting, Freddie's feelings of affection for her did not change. Throughout it all, Mary's support was there for you. In the 1970s, Freddie Mercury's reputation surged, bringing with it a tornado of success, turbulence, and public attention. All of these things occurred simultaneously. Mary, on the other hand, was a person who maintained a constant and anchoring presence throughout all that happened. In contrast to the others who came and went from Freddie's life, Mary's connection with him was unbreakable since it was established during the early stages of his rise to national prominence. At a time when Freddie's life was becoming increasingly expensive, Mary remained by his side, offering him not just companionship, but also the kind of emotional support that very few other people could provide. Their relationship was built on this unassuming loyalty, which lasted right up to the very end of their time together. In an interview that took place in 1985, Freddie famously stated, "All my lovers asked me why they couldn't replace Mary, but it's simply impossible." Freddie frequently referred to Mary as somebody who could not be replaced. "Currently, Mary is the only friend I have, and I have no desire to have any other friends." Although they were no longer romantically involved, this intimate bond between them remained a defining characteristic of Freddie's life. While Freddie's public character became more prominent than ever before, Mary provided him with a safe haven of seclusion and understanding, a place where he could be himself without fear of the consequences. Mary was a consistent source of support for Freddie as his personal life got increasingly complicated. Freddie was constantly reassured by Mary that she would continue to be at his side, although many others in her position may have retreated from the situation. Because of their trusting connection and the fact that they had a history together, they were able to continue to support one another even when the dynamics of their relationship changed. Mary's loyalty extended well beyond the emotional connection they had. She was one of the few people who knew Freddie before he became famous, which provided her with a unique perspective of who he truly was. As Freddie became renowned, she witnessed his rise to fame. Because of this, she was able to provide him with assistance that was genuine and sincere. In the knowledge that her love and concern for him would remain constant, Freddie placed his complete confidence in her. The relationship between Freddie and her first son, Richard, was strengthened even more when Freddie became Richard's godfather. There was never a moment when Mary's commitment to Freddie wavered, even if their personal lives were constantly shifting. Even though she was creating her own universe, she continued to play a significant role in his world. One of the most crucial tests of Mary's allegiance occurred in 1987 when Freddie was diagnosed with HIV. This was maybe one of the most significant tests. He turned to Mary, knowing that she would be there for him through this final chapter of his life when he was confronted with this terrible information. During his fight against AIDS, she was one of the few individuals he confided in because she was within the limited circle of people he confided in. She also provided him with comfort and company. The dedication that Mary showed during this period was truly remarkable. Whether or not Freddie was awake, she would spend hours each day by his bedside, providing him with silent support to help him get through the day. While Freddie was experiencing periods of clarity, he would smile and call her Old Faithful, which was a demonstration of the unshakable link that they shared. Freddie placed a great deal of faith in Mary during his final days, and he asked her to handle the items that were most important to him personally. The fact that he wanted her to manage his ashes after he had passed away was a demonstration of how much Freddie relied on her. By taking on this duty, which was both personal and significant, Freddie demonstrated how strong their connection was and how much trust he had in her. The last days of Freddie's life and Mary's undertaking. People were impressed by the bravery that Freddie Mercury showed in the face of a challenging struggle as his life came to an end. After receiving a diagnosis of AIDS in 1987, Freddie confronted his sickness with a bravery and dignity that many people thought to be admirable. In addition to being a physical struggle, AIDS was accompanied by a great deal of fear and confusion on the part of the general population during that time period. Freddie made the decision to conceal his illness, and he only informed a select group of pals he could rely on. Mary Austin, who had shown to be a reliable companion throughout his life for a considerable amount of time, was one of those reliable pals. Mary had been Freddie's most trusted ally for a very long time, and she had been a consistent source of support for him even during his most vulnerable periods. Although his health began to worsen, she remained by his side, providing the type of support that could only be provided by someone who has a profound understanding of the spirit of another person. They constructed a protective barrier around Freddie, sheltering him from the care of public scrutiny. This barrier was formed in conjunction with Freddie's companion Jim Hutton and a small circle of friends. Mary saw the soft, human side of Freddie, a guy whose music had touched the lives of millions of people, while the rest of the world viewed Freddie as a massively successful rock star. Mary's dedication to Freddie was unwavering during these difficult final years of her child's life. Whether he was awake or asleep, she sat by his bedside for many hours, often in silence, offering the solace of her presence. She did this regardless of whether he was awake or asleep. It was during these times of relative calm that Freddie's sense of humor and personality would occasionally make their presence known. She lovingly recalled how he would wake up, catch her eye, and call her Old Faithful, a term that conveyed a great deal of information about the unwavering trust that existed between them. These brief encounters, which were yet profoundly significant, served as reminders of the strong connection that they had cultivated throughout their lives. As Freddie's health continued to deteriorate, he took the challenging decision to discontinue his usage of medicine. Instead of putting up a lengthy and agonizing struggle, he desired to spend his final days with dignity, concentrating on the quality of life he had left. His residence, Garden Lodge, located in Kensington, served as a safe haven for him during this period. In the company of his loved ones, Freddie was able to find some calm. Mary remained at his side until the very end, providing him with all the support and solace he required. On the 24th of November in 1991, the world was deprived of a legend. Bronchopneumonia, a consequence of AIDS, was the cause of death for Freddie, who was 45 years old when he died away. A gap was left in the lives of millions of admirers as a result of his passing, which sent shockwaves across the music business. However, those who were closest to him, particularly Mary, experienced a loss that was far more personal. With Mary, Freddie's confidence remained unwavering even after he had passed away. In order to demonstrate the depth of their connection in a manner that went beyond their previous romantic relationship, he entrusted her with his most personal and essential requests. Half of Freddie's assets were handed to Mary, which included Garden Lodge, the house that had been so significant to him throughout his life. A monetary gift was not the only thing that this bequest was. It was a potent representation of his unwavering love and admiration for her throughout his life. It is possible that the management of Freddie's ashes was the most significant responsibility that Freddie entrusted to Mary. Freddie made a final, very personal request to her, asking her to disperse his ashes in a secluded spot. He wanted to make sure that the location of his ultimate resting place would be kept a secret for the rest of his life. A meaningful demonstration of the connection that they had with one another, this obligation was more than just an act of faith. Freddie was aware that Mary would safeguard his memories in the same manner that she had safeguarded him throughout his life. For almost 3 decades, Mary has continued to conceal Freddie's identity. His desire for secrecy was respected even after he had passed away, and she has never disclosed to anybody the location of the ashes that were strewn. Mary has never wavered in her commitment to her vow. In her explanation, she stated that Freddie did not want anybody to try to locate the location where he was laid to rest. He was aware of how the graves of certain renowned individuals are handled, and he wished to prevent it. Mary has complied with his desires, ensuring that memories of him will not be altered in any way. This is Mary's inheritance, which is the Queen's money. Not only did Freddie Mercury leave behind a magnificent musical legacy when he passed away in 1991, but he also left behind a large wealth. There were a lot of people who were taken aback when Freddie made a choice that was both unexpected and significant about the distribution of his fortune. He made the decision to leave Mrs. Mary Austin, his ex-girlfriend and a confidant throughout his whole life, 50% of his estate. They had a profound connection with one another, which continued to be strong even after their romantic relationship had come to an end. This choice mirrored that bond. One of the most important aspects of Mary's bequest was Garden Lodge, which was Freddie's treasured property located in Kensington, London. This magnificent Georgian mansion, which has 28 rooms and is worth £25 million, became an enduring emblem of the connection that they had in the past. In Freddie's perspective, the home was more than simply a residence. It was a haven, and now it served as a tangible reminder of how their lives were interwoven. Mary became the owner of the mansion, which had been a witness to a significant portion of Freddie's personal and professional life. She continued to reside there, so guaranteeing the preservation of the memories that they had built together. With that being said, the inheritance encompassed more than just the actual properties. Freddie, who was always planning ahead, made certain that Mary would be cared for the remainder of her life to the fullest extent possible. Additionally, he made arrangements for her to earn 50% of his future income in addition to the property. Because Queen's music continued to enjoy widespread popularity, these royalties served not only as a means of ensuring financial stability, but also as a manifestation of the enduring influence of his musical legacy. The year 2018 saw the release of the biopic Bohemian Rhapsody, which resulted in a fresh surge of interest in Freddie's life and music. With a worldwide box office receipt of more than $900 million, the movie became an enormous hit. Because Freddie had planned everything out so meticulously, Mary was eligible to receive a sizable portion of the earnings. According to reports, she was awarded over $60 million as a result of the popularity of the film, which is a monument to Freddie's forethought in guaranteeing her financial stability long after he had passed away. Freddie's diligent preparation, however, was not just beneficial to Mary, it was also beneficial to other people. The amount of money that Freddie's parents and his sister, Kashmira Bulsara, received from the remaining half of his potential earnings was split between them. The surviving members of Queen jointly made over $90 million from the success of the film, while Kashmira herself received a sizable chunk, which is believed to be $25 million. In addition to providing for his family, Freddie's legacy ensured that his music and spirit continued to live on in the hearts of millions of people. The extent of Freddie's love for Mary was demonstrated by the fact that he provided her with both instant and continuous financial stability thanks to his generosity. Although their relationship may have evolved throughout the course of their time together, the connection that they had was unbreakable. The choice that Freddie made to make sure that Mary would be cared for was not just motivated by financial considerations. A manifestation of the trust, love, and respect that they had for one another, it was a thing of beauty. It was a gesture that testified to the quality of their connection, one that went beyond the conventional borders and definitions of friendship. Mary felt a sense of duty as a result of receiving such a big percentage of Freddie's assets at the time of his passing. As the person responsible for safeguarding his legacy, she was tasked with the responsibility of managing his assets while also paying tribute to the memories of the man she loved. Mary's future was protected by Freddie's riches, but the man who was the source of the story was the genuine legacy that he left behind. How did the mythology that we know come to be influenced by the secret aspects of Freddie's life? Have a watchful eye. Lesser-known facts about the man behind the legend. Legendary Queen frontman Freddie Mercury is known for electrifying concerts and a strong voice that drew in millions of fans. Despite his notoriety, many admirers failed to recognize the intriguing guy behind the mask. The legend's life was more than simply a maelstrom of rock and roll. It was molded by profound connections and one-of-a-kind personal experiences. Most people don't give Freddie much thought, because he was born Farrokh Bulsara on the little island of Zanzibar in 1946. Away from the glamour of rock glory was an East African island that was ruled by the British at the time. But political turmoil quickly altered his trajectory. From Farrokh Bulsara to the legendary Freddie Mercury, he went through a transformation at this turning point in his life. Freddie had a quieter side that was hidden under his colorful exterior. Even if it seems strange for a future rock star to have dabbled in stamp collecting as a kid, that was his passion. Between the ages of 9 and 12, Freddie painstakingly collected stamps issued by the British Empire and arranged them according to size, color, and topic. This pastime mirrored his early inventiveness and focus to detail, qualities that would eventually drive his creative brilliance. As an aside, this was something he was passionate about. Therefore, there must have been some sort of personal connection between them that strengthened their relationship. What makes Freddie's life interesting is that his artistic abilities went beyond music. Not only was he Queen's vocalist, but he also created the band's iconic logo. Freddie drew on his artistic experience to design the band's insignia, a magnificent crest that incorporates zodiac symbols that symbolize each member. The emblem, which showcased Freddie's visual ability with his musical talent, became as legendary as the band itself with its meticulous elements, such as a crowned Q and a phoenix. Even though Freddie was a daring performer on stage, he remained reserved offstage. According to his mom, Ger Bulsara, he was very cautious to keep his rock star identity apart from his own personality. His private life and his theatrical life were kept apart, she stated at one point. Many were surprised to learn that Freddie's life was more complicated than they had previously thought, thanks to the contrast between his outgoing personality and his reserved nature behind the scenes. Not many people know this, but Freddie had an obvious overbite due to his 4 additional teeth, and he chose not to get it corrected. It was one of the most intriguing, obscure facts about him. Freddie was self-conscious about his appearance, but he was certain that his unusual teeth improved his singing. A lot of people would have gone to the dentist to restore their teeth, but Freddie was so committed to his music that he opted to retain them. Extraordinary was the word to describe Freddie's singing ability. Over 3 octaves, he could produce a wide variety of sounds, from resonating lows to soaring highs. He was one of the most mesmerizing rock vocalists of all time, due to the ease with which he transitioned between these tones. Freddie became famous as a singer thanks to his voice and his charismatic stage presence. Even though Freddie was a vocal prodigy, he was self-conscious about his piano playing. Despite the fact that Freddie wrote several Queen songs on the piano, including Bohemian Rhapsody and We Are the Champions, he seldom performed live while playing the instrument. So that he could concentrate on his role as Queen's lead singer and interact with the crowd, He would instead ask other musicians to play the keyboards. This choice demonstrated his knowledge of himself. Freddie was self-aware enough to know his limitations and relentless in his pursuit of perfection. The 1983 cooperation between Freddie and Michael Jackson is one of the most interesting professional tales. There were some bumps in the road for the two music heavyweights as they collaborated on many tunes. Their romantic connection may have ended, but the friendship they had has endured. Freddie frequently used the phrase soulmate to describe Mary, which had more meaning for him than just a romantic relationship. In his last will, he asked her to spread his ashes in a private spot. She carried out this duty in full secrecy, respecting his intention that some parts of his life remain undisclosed. Their bond was profoundly shown in this last act, and their love for one another extended well beyond the realm of romance. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more exciting celebrity videos. Please like and comment to let us know what you think.